So fight for a paradise, fight for our life. So keep holding on until we break the spell. Free yourself, reach for the light in darkness and despair. If there comes a time when you are falling down, I'll be your savior. I'll be your savior.
Hello and welcome back to the Red Leaf Retrocast Modern Gaming Podcast, episode 24. I am one of your hosts, Jay Silver.
And I'm JD, host of all the other Red Leaf Retrocasts.
Well, yeah, it's kind of your show.
It's my show. But you're doing the introductions. Keep going. Keep doing it. We're finally back.
Yes, I've been stuck on a mountain for work for months. And it was freaking horrible, and I hated every second of it.
Not enough time for video games for you, Jay.
Yes, I haven't played as much as I would like to have, but stuff it, we're here, and we're going to do July and August.
August. Lots of games.
Yes, we have approximately...
Can we talk about the sports games that have come out?
Sure.
Before we go into the July and August games?
Sure, so we'll talk a little bit on NBA 2K20 before we talk about 11 games from the last 2 months.
Pretty crazy.
Yeah,
I have at the very least dabbled in all 11 games.
I've dabbled in 4, I think.
So, over a third.
Yeah, look, as I said, come next month, I'll be prepared properly because I won't be stuck on a goddamn mountain.
Dude, September alone has like 11 games.
I know. I picked up Gears and it's currently installing while I'm sitting here for this, and I freaking love Gears. So I'm very excited to play this with a friend. It's going to be the first Gears game I play through with him that I haven't played before.
Ooh. How about that?
Indeed. So yeah, dude,
Jay,
2K20 has a casino in it and actual gambling, and it's freaking amazing.
Well, not only that, now that the game has come out, or will be coming out very soon, in fact, I'm going to go to Metacritic right now. When does this fucker come out? Because I've seen tons of videos on this game already.
It's out.
And
I saw it this morning. Well, it's out here. Maybe
2K20. Okay.
Pretty sure
so it has a 79 on Metacritic currently, and it came out Friday. Okay. So I am putting my foot down and refusing to play this game, but I have seen videos of people trolling this game a lot.
I don't know anything about NBA, so I probably won't be touching it either.
Okay, so I used to be that guy for like 12 years, right? From the like late 90s to the mid 20 or early 2010s. I bought sports titles like annually, basically. And I'm talking all of them. NBA, FIFA, NHL,
WCW, WWF.
No, I didn't buy those annually.
ACW.
So, and then all of a sudden I just stopped buying them because they would get worse and worse, take modes out. Well, now, when I saw the news that 2K20 NBA is going to have a fucking slot machine and casinos in it to go with the little Ultimate Team thing, I was just like, wow. 2K looked at EA and just went, damn, those EA guys, I think we can one-up them.
I mean, look,
they certainly did.
We've had this conversation in the past. In my opinion, loot boxes are fine if it's just for cosmetics. If it hampers progress or something in the game, that's an issue. But this is something completely different.
Well, here's the other thing: if you can use real life money to buy in-game currency, that is in itself gambling.
Correct.
Yeah, and then plus the whole gambling mechanics in it. So there are people that have contacted like the ESRB and I forget the European one that's over there. that they rated this E for everyone when there's gambling mechanics in it, and that's automatically for adults only. So there's...
Which is one of the main reasons Pokemon took the slots out.
Right. Exactly the same. And they also had to rate it, I think it was... They had to rate it specifically when they came back with, like, Fire Red and whatnot. But anyways, now that the game's out and people are trolling videos, there are hilarious bugs. The game's a mess, and it doesn't work properly. It's quite
this doesn't
funny.
Surprise me.
Yeah, so not only did they spend all their resources over the past year to basically put the same game in with bugs, they put all their resources into the gambling mechanics. Just disgusting.
Well, dude, if it makes you feel any better, the game over here is rated G, which is general for everybody and includes online interactivity. And I will not pay anything over $20 for that game, but they're charging $100 brand new. Oh.
Jay, you could give me this game plus $20, and I would say, no, that's okay. I don't want this in my collection.
See,
I will not have this game even come in contact with any of my other games. Just for the pure fear that it might integrate and infect something else.
See, like that's brand new, right? I paid $69 for Gears this morning, brand new, and I'm probably going to enjoy Gears a hell of a lot more than I would in
Well, of course you would.
Like those other crappy NBA games.
Little teaser. I got to play Gears 5 already, quite a bit, and guess what?
You like it?
I fucking like it. What?
Yeah.
I felt like I haven't said I like it. I like an Xbox One game in forever.
No, I'm curious, but we can get into this next month when we actually sit down and do a full-on review of that game. What changed?
Probably the better character story.
Right. See, the reason I like Gears is literally because it's one of the only games that's out there that's still currently somewhat popular, that is just over-the-top violence for the sake of being violent, but it also has solid game controls.
No argument.
The story's somewhat decent, but yeah, that's just kind of the reason I like Gears. It's ridiculous, and I freaking love it.
Well, I have a strong reasoning that if you're going to come out with sequels and multiple sequels at that, you need to innovate. You need to keep the game fresh. You need to change. And this is why I didn't like Gears of War 2, which is probably the most popular one.
It's my favorite one of the series.
Yeah, it's most people's. And I just went, it's not that I hate the Gears of War series, it just doesn't do anything for me, because the game just never seems to innovate. It's always the same feeling thing.
The story's never really been its strong suit, though.
No, but you don't play it for the story.
Correct, you play it for Horde mode.
Well, I don't play it for Horde mode, but anyways.
Well, okay, moving on.
Moving on, yeah. That was a big problem with Shadow of the Tomb Raider. I liked the game, I liked Tomb Raider, but it didn't do enough. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I get you.
Yeah, it did, like, all the things that it did once. I was like, hey, this is cool. I wish I could do that again. But you don't. All right. So the other game I wanted to bring up. So NBA 2K20, don't support it. It's a piece of shit. The other game I wanted to bring up, just from a pure interesting standpoint, was a game from July. So it is timey. It is Madden NFL 20. Okay?
Right. Never played a Madden game, so this should be interesting.
Okay, so I grew up in Texas. Everyone's football crazy.
I have a question.
Right. American football crazy for our European listeners.
Which football team do you go for?
I don't.
Solid answer.
I would ask me that again.
What football team do you go for?
Borussia Dortmund and Hanover. There you go.
Okay.
They're German football teams.
I go for the Essendon Bombers, which is an AFL team.
Yeah, there you go. So this was just interesting to me. Yeah, I've played a lot of Madden games in the past. I have a Madden game for my 3DO, and it's freaking hilarious because it's more arcade, right?
I thought you were going to say it's hilarious because it's a 3DO.
Well, it's also because it's the 3DO. It's quite funny. I have some football games. I have a couple for my PS3, two that were vastly different from each other. I believe it was 12 and 13. I believe that's correct. It hardly matters. The point being, the Madden games have a strong reputation for being exceedingly good sports games. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Since 1990, I want to say 3 or 4, the games have gotten critically acclaimed, like 9 out of 10s, year after year, year over year, decade over decade, right? And the fact that we can say decade over decade at this point is quite something. And then it slowly started tapering off, getting the high 80s and then mid 80s. And it's been kind of hovering in those mid 80s scores for the past, I want to say 5 years, right?
Uh-huh.
And this year, the game has an average critic score of 76 out of 100.
Ooh,
Okay.
What changed?
Its lowest critic score ever.
Right.
Yeah. So I got to play this. I did seek out and play the game and just see like what is going on, just out of pure curiosity, because I haven't played a Madden game in probably. I know I dabbled in the one I think last year for the podcast. Let me double check this. Let's see, August, because they usually come out in August, but they can't. This one came out in July this year.
Was the 3DO Madden game the John Madden football?
The last one I played was 18. NFL
Right.
18. And then I know I played 19 at my friend's place, just a bit. So, they introduced a mode called, what was the mode called? I know they introduced a thing called X Factors, and it's, like, worthless, right? It adds almost nothing to the game.
Right.
They tried to add the story mode, but it fell incredibly flat and doesn't do anything, right? So what ended up happening was the gameplay itself received no improvements. It in fact went backwards, right, in what people expect. And they took out a lot of different modes that I just can't think of off the top of my head, but the game felt very bland and empty, and that really brings me back to one of the NHL games that came out years ago, where they took out like half the modes that made the NHL game fun, and so that left the hard product feeling very shallow. So
Right.
There's a lot of Madden fans that just, they go, well, it's a decent football game, but when you have all of these decades to compare them to, and how this particular Madden 20 failed to deliver is quite something. I found it very interesting. It's by far probably the weakest Madden game I've played in decades.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Is the Madden game that you've got on the 3DO John Madden's football?
Yes.
Yeah, good.
Yeah. It's pretty fun. Just on the pure like retro perspective of this is a football game.
Nice.
So,
nice.
yeah.
So, is the story mode just like the generic thing where like you create a person, play through, hey look, we did a season, now you're a superstar?
No. That's kind of like the Road to the Show mode in MLB games. This one is like following a player, and he goes to the combine, then he gets drafted, and it's an actual like backstory type stuff.
Yeah, okay, so I get you. So, yeah. Okay.
FIFA tried to do the same thing, but again, it falls flat year over year, basically.
So, do people, I would say that people still play FIFA, but at the same time, I think FIFA's still making like millions of dollars.
It's like it's among the most sold games every year.
Yeah. Never really been a fan of that or Pro Evolution Soccer.
Pro Evolution Soccer has its charm, just because they put in a lot of mechanics that FIFA just never has. and you almost wish those two would combine.
And make like a perfect soccer game?
Yeah, kind of, yeah. It'll just never happen.
Would you buy it if they did?
I would.
I would. You disappoint me.
I still play, I think it's FIFA 12 every now and again. I think that was the one. It has like just the right amount of arcade, and the franchise mode is fun. Or club mode, whatever you want to call it.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Shall we now get into our July games, or do you have any other gaming stuff you want to talk about that's modern?
No, not really.
Okay.
Not really. Besides the fact that friggin' September is going to be a massive month, but other than that, not really.
Okay. Well, then now's a good time to say that later in the show, I will be joined by my mother to talk about the game Control from August. So every week on a Saturday afternoon, my mom and I will have a game of the month that we will eventually cover on this podcast, and I will interview her from the Let's Play perspective of that particular game. So this month's game was Control. So look forward to that later in the show, and then we'll segue into it and segue out accordingly.
This is such a good idea, and I wish I thought of it.
It's not even a teenager's or a child's like Let's Play's perspective. It's my mom.
Well, I said this to you before we started recording. I got my mum to watch it all out, and I kind of want to get her thoughts on it, but at the same time, I got no idea how I'd record it with her.
Get her a microphone and then help her set it up. That's what I had to do.
How good.
But mine lives on the other side of the country, so.
Yeah, mine lives in the same town as me, so I've really got no excuse.
If I could get mine from the other side of my country, you should have no problem driving over to yours.
See, my mother, though, is just, she's not good when it comes to technology, and she still needs me to explain her iPhone to her, and it's just like, ugh. Alright, Mum, you're recording. Do you have Audacity open? What's Audacity? I went through this with you, Mum. Yep. But anyway, would you like to start at Sairento?
Okay,
I don't know
I
how
will
to say
help
that
you
name.
pronounce this game. All right, so a PSVR game has come out, and it got rage reviews, and I was originally not even aware of this game. So it's called Sairento, and I can say right away the story is like absent. Don't worry about that. What you should worry about, as in be heavily excited, is, Jay, have you ever wanted to be a ninja?
We talking like a Naruto ninja, or are we talking like a clad in black ninja?
Sure.
Yeah, okay, let's say I want to be a ninja.
Okay, well, now you can in Sairento, and it's not just like a play on a word. You are literally a ninja. You are, like, there's an arena battle, or arena levels, and you're in VR mode, and you're jumping around just like a ninja, throwing shurikens and the like, and using various ninja techniques, and you just
like
kill people.
Chidoris.
Well, not like to that level, but get the idea. So when you get the... In fact, Jay, because I want you to at least think like you're going to be a ninja here, I'm going to pull up Sairento PSVR. And let's see here. Yeah, why not? I'll just give you this little link here. And I just want your basic little thoughts as you watch just a piece of this. So
Okie dokie. So is it like online compatible so you can go PvP?
Oh, I think it is, actually.
That sounds awesome.
I didn't try that. I didn't try that, though. I'm usually more of the solo type gamer.
You know, I get you. I get you. But, I mean, you could test your ninja skills against other people who have ninja skills.
Let's see.
Oh my god, this music is already fantastic.
I know, right? Really brings you into the game.
Oh my god, this is trippy as.
Yeah. There's like no way to describe it. You just have to. Basically, if you envision yourself being a ninja, you're a freaking ninja.
You can do like barrel rolls and stuff with jumps. That's freaking insane.
Yes.
Oh my god, this is amazing.
Yeah, it's really fun. It's a top level PSVR game. You do need 2 PS Move controllers for it to work, as you would imagine, because you want to, whether it's bow and arrow, shurikens, or whatnot, you want a hand for each, pretty much. There is online play.
Time for JD to test his ninja skills.
Oh, my ninja skills are not up to par. I think the 12-year-olds would have owned my ass.
Those COD players.
Yeah.
But, yeah, dude, that looks freaking insane. I just don't have PSVR.
It's definitely like one of the reasons to get PSVR is a game like this.
Yeah.
And I really do enjoy bringing up PSVR games when I can for the podcast. So I just feel like not enough people talk about it. Or even have one.
With PSVR, because I've never actually asked this question, and it might be a dumb question, but I'm going to ask it anyway.
Okay.
With the goggles and stuff, because that's like how, obviously, you're playing the game, if you're playing a normal game, can you use those as like a TV screen or not?
Yes, it's actually in your face as like a 50,000-inch TV. It's pretty... I played through one of the Ratchet and Clank games. Yeah, I played through Ratchet and Clank Remake on the PS4 that way.
So I can just like lay down in my
again
bed and just use that as a TV instead of using a TV.
I mean, if your cord reaches that far, sure.
That sounds freaking awesome.
Yeah. But you would have to like move your head to see the whole screen. That's what makes it kind of not ideal.
Yeah, but at the same time, if you're trying to be quiet, if there's people asleep in the house or something, and you don't want to have your TV turned on, you can just either do that. It's if you don't want to plug like headphones into your controller.
Well, you would still need headphones for the VR.
Yeah, my analogy's not really working there, and I just wanted an excuse to get PSVR. Okay.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's getting more and more affordable every day. So.
I wonder if the PS5 or the Xbox Scarlet's is going to be coming with their equivalent of VR.
Something tells me no, unless they strike a deal directly with Oculus.
Now, look, time will tell. Maybe you can get them
unless
cheaper
they already have struck a deal with Oculus. I don't remember. Point being, maybe sometime soon, or at least by the end of the year, I should make like my top 10 PSVR games. Yeah. All right. Next game. So, but yeah, if you have PSVR, Sairento is a must-have.
Yeah, it looks insane.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite games of the year.
How good?
Easily.
Sweet. So next up is Wolfenstein Youngblood, which is a game I did a tiny bit of research on before we came here because I didn't play it. But, dude, it looks like, from what I can tell, a lesser version of Wolfenstein 2 with co-op.
Correct.
And each of the characters is supposed to be somewhat different, but they kind of play the same.
Also correct.
And
they play exactly the same, by the way.
It's a cheaper game than a AAA release, which is a good thing, but at the same time, is it worth the entry point for that price?
No.
Well, there we go. We reviewed Wolfenstein.
So, Wolfenstein Youngblood. Okay, so if you remember Wolfenstein New Colossus had a cliffhanger ending. Excuse me?
Well, Wolfenstein New Colossus was 2, correct?
Yes.
Okay, yep.
So it had a crazy cliffhanger ending. So you're like, okay, they're making a third one, right? Wouldn't you assume that the game would pick up right at that big cliffhanger moment?
Well, you would assume so if it's a Wolfenstein 3, but with this one, it wasn't really advertised as a 3.
Right. It
was advertised as kind of like a 2.5.
But here's the thing. This takes place after, like, many, many, many years after that climactic ending.
Does it spoil anything from, like, what you're assuming a third game's going to be?
It spoils the result.
Right, that's a bit annoying.
So, irritating right off the bat. And It takes place in an open sandbox, so you're already kind of striking my kind of nerve already with that notion, because then you just go, why?
Mm-hmm.
And what ends up happening is, because it's in the sandbox and you have to do these various missions, you end up retrekking across the same area or areas over and over again. Like, within the first couple missions, you've already trekked over the same place 2 or 3 times. And you're
That's
just
a little
shooting
bit
the
annoying.
same enemies over and over again.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The gameplay is exactly the same. It has all of the things I disliked from the second game, such as getting shot from behind. A lot of the times you don't know where you're getting shot. I found basically every single enemy to be a bullet sponge with the whole level up system. It was very irritating.
So enemies
hate
level
this
with
game.
you?
I don't remember. It was a while ago now, at this point.
Right, because like if they don't level with you, and say for example you go back to one of the starting areas, you're on like level say 15, you should just be able to like one hit them.
Yeah, that never happens. Everything is just a bullet sponge, essentially.
Well, that's a bit frustrating.
Yeah, this seems like a game that just had no business being made to me. It's on my list of top 5 worst games of the year.
Right,
It's-
that's
It's boring, it's irritating, and coming from a company that makes much better games, this is unacceptable to me. It just seems like a cash grab. A no-effort cash grab.
Or was it supposed to be a holdover until an announcement for Wolfenstein 3?
But they're coming out with what is it, Doom something? What's the next Doom called? Doom Eternal. They're coming out
That's
with
the
Doom
one.
Eternal this year, so what's the holdover?
Yeah, that's a very good point. I got nothing. There's no excuse for this then.
Yeah. So don't buy this game. Anyone who even as a Wolfenstein fan, like I liked the first game in this series.
New Order?
Yeah, New Order. I liked New Order.
Did you like
And then
Old
New
Blood?
Colossus. I didn't play Old Blood.
Oh, you might like Old Blood. Old Blood's good.
I probably would. But I didn't like New Colossus too much, but I didn't hate the game. I hate this game. I hate Youngblood.
If I'm not mistaken, I think Old Blood is a prequel to New Order? I know
could
that's
be right.
dumb,
I
but
don't know.
I think it is. I think
Yeah.
it is.
Alright, so the next game is Sea of Solitude.
Right.
So I played probably hour and a half of this game, and it definitely seemed like something I'd be interested in, because I liked these kind of short 3, 4, 5 hour experience games where it has a message to tell. Whether that was the dancing ribbon game in PSVR called Bound, where that had a kooky little allegory story to tell. Celeste is a game that's focused on the battles of mental health. What's another one? Well, you get the idea of what I'm going for here.
Celeste is a very good game as well.
Yeah, Celeste is an excellent game. It was top of the list for 2018.
And I went back and played it, and I completely agree with that assessment. It was such a good game.
Yeah. So Sea of Solitude its message is the allegory, the metaphor, the struggle of mental health, and it portrays these mental health issues as monsters in this world. There's no gameplay in this at all. There's no. It lacks what Bound got away with it because it's in VR, right?
Uh-huh.
So you just traversing this crazy blocky world is the journey, right? In Sea of Solitude, it's you're this girl who's been transformed into a monster, and she travels around this Venice water world, right? And
Uh-huh.
she just platforms around. That's it. There's no battling. You just run and avoid. And even in a monster battle, you run around like little shadow creatures that are coming after you. But like Ico, but unlike Ico, you don't actually fight them. You just run around them until you get to the point that you need to get to. There's no gameplay. There's none. So you immediately, at least in my case, I found myself immediately disinterested. So where does that lie then? Where does the game need to pull me in? Well, it needs to pull me in with the message it's trying to say. In Celeste, it was that battle of mental health, trying to overcome your own fears, trying to overcome your own insecurities. What ends up happening in Sea of Solitude is it's so trope-filled, where it's, I don't know, your parents left you at a young age, right? Or they got divorced. Well, you feel sad, sure, but that's it. They don't do anything other than just say, yeah, this happens to people kind of situation. So there's nothing roping you in or keeping you in to even the message. It's a very disappointing experience for something that looks like it has a nice little color palette and it has the potential, but it doesn't nail anything. It's a real shame.
It's literally just a story around a person who had their parents get divorced.
I just use that as an example, but there's bad situations and mental health situations that the game portrays in a monster form, right?
Right. I got that part, but yeah, okay, I'm with you.
Yeah, it's not just like one thing. There's multiple things.
Right.
Yeah. So don't. So Wolfenstein and Sea of Solitude are thumbs downs.
Thumbs downs. Well, we continue with the thumbs down when we enter the
Are you sure
city.
about that?
I said, will we continue the thumbs down? Not let's continue the thumbs down. Jeez,
Okay.
open your ears, JD.
I'm sorry. Let me just. All right. I don't know if anyone heard that, but all right.
I'm not sure. So, The Sinking City is a Lovecraftian sort of horror game about Cthulhu. Do you like Cthulhu, my dude?
I've heard of the fella. Heard he gets around.
Yeah. I like survival horror games. Did you play this one?
I did play this one for quite a bit. So last summer, there was a game called Vampire. Does this ring a bell?
I think so.
Yeah, it came out in June of 2018. So
was
that
it like
was kind of
not the traditional way of vampire and had like a Y in there? I
yes.
think so. Yeah. Yep.
So people regarded that as it could be a cult classic in the future. Because it had janky fighting mechanics, it had an interesting kind of realm to discover, so to say. It had mechanics, it had potential, right? And it was made with a less than stellar result, let's say. Okay, right. It was janky. It was a janky game. And I went, you know what? I thought to myself, maybe way down the line I'll get the game and give it another chance when I'm not spending, even $40 to $50 on it. The Sinking City gave me the exact same experience as Vampire did last year. The difference being that the Sinking City is more broken and it ended up being more funny, if that makes any sense.
Okay. What did you have experiences with that was broken?
Oh, there was a host of things. I fell through the floor a couple times. I'd talk to NPCs and they'd disappear, and then the conversation would go one-sided at times. The gun mechanics are so, busted that it's almost like you got a six-shooter and you're just holding it at your hip going, come on, I'll get him eventually. Shit, I ran out of bullets.
Excellent.
The way the people interact with each other is very strange. I don't know, it was just very unintentionally funny to me. So
look, most of those issues sound like they could be patched.
there's too much. They're not gonna. No, it's too much. They're not gonna. Look, Jay, this company is the company that made all the Sherlock Holmes games. Those are all busted messes. They haven't fixed any of those.
Okay. I mean,
I have no faith that the Sinking City is gonna be fixed.
You're still waiting on what's that game that you've been playing to be fixed?
Oh, Baba Is You?
Yeah, that. They just don't care.
Well, I hit a wall with that game. It's too hard. I got like halfway through all the puzzles before the puzzles are just... Here's my problem with Baba Is You. I know this is a little side tangent from Sinking City. I really like Baba Is You, but it feels like the rules change too much. Like I'll finally solve a puzzle, and then I'll go on to the next one, and it's supposed to build off the previous puzzle, right? But then all of a sudden, like, oh, the teleport mechanic no longer works while it worked in the previous stage. I go, well, why? Like, I'm doing the same thing I did in the previous one, but now it doesn't work here because whatever reason it might be. You know, it just stops working. There's no rule for it. It really rubbed me the wrong way. But I'm like, oh, okay, I'll just not play that stage, and then I just couldn't figure out the others. And I go, well, I guess I'm not smart enough for this game anymore.
Time to consult the guides.
Yeah. Well, when you have a puzzle game like that, and you resort to consulting the guide, it really defeats the purpose of playing the game then.
I get that.
You know?
But at the same time, if you want to finish the game, you might have to consult the guide.
Yeah, but I'd have to do it for like every stage at this point.
Yeah, maybe you just stuck on that one. Or maybe it's just a broken mess like the previous stage you've got issues with.
No, that one is actually broken, yeah. I did beat Wargroove, finally. So that was a big success.
Excellent.
Yeah.
There's a game kind of like that we'll be talking about next.
Excuse me?
Oh, wait, hang on, no. Wargroove. Never mind. I think I stuffed up. It's all good.
Okay. But yeah, back to the Sinking City. It's a broken, unintentional, hilarious mess. It trades itself as a horror game, right? But it's not scary in any way. You just go around this depressing Lovecraftian world, and there was a very interesting mechanic. And coming from the people that made the Sherlock Holmes games, of course, the best part of this game was the whole being a detective part.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, but you can be a detective in the Batman games.
No, you get given a task, whatever the task may be, or a mystery to solve, right? And you have to put your puzzle pieces together. And that requires, say, going to the game's library, looking at the map, and kind of filling in the waypoints on your own. It's like, oh, you have to go between this street and this street. So then now you're looking at the map going, okay, so that street's there, so I have to cross with that street. All right, so to the library, now cross-reference things at like an actual detective. So that was pretty cool. I was using my big smart brain.
Right.
For things.
So for someone dumb like me, this game's not good then. Gotcha.
You could figure it out if you put your mind to it.
I'm sure I can't, but we can figure that out.
But yeah, it was just, you have these fish people in the game, and I did a little reading on the whole what the Lovecraft part is based off of, and it's supposed to be... Did you ever play Amnesia Dark Descent?
I did not know.
Okay. Eternal
I know what it is.
Darkness?
I didn't play it. I know what they are, but I didn't play them.
Alright. Well, you have a sanity meter, right? And in the Lovecraft story, the narrator slowly goes insane based on the like fish people doing Lovecraftian stuff. To be as crude as that sounds. And in this one, he just kind of goes... And even the people in the world just go, man, those fish people are kind of weird, eh? Yeah, I agree. All right, let's move on over here.
Look,
We
a
got
fish
that dead
person.
body to find.
Yeah, so good.
So the thing
good.
it's based off of doesn't work. So it's a bummer.
Yeah. Fair enough. Fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
So I definitely put this in the same vampire category of maybe many years later, if the game's like $4, I'll get it.
I might as well.
Yeah.
Time will tell. Time will tell.
Yeah.
So, my dude, next up, we have Fire Emblem The Three Houses.
Ah, Fire Emblem Dryheim.
Fire Emblem what?
Dryheim. Three houses.
Right, I'm guessing that's
Three
German.
homes. Yes, it is German.
Gotcha.
So quick plug. Over on the Anime Radicals network podcast, I did an episode joined with Andrew from the Recovery of the Anime Junkie podcast. We did an hour recording of Arc 1 of Fire Emblem Three Houses. We talked very in depth over the gameplay mechanics, the story happening, the houses we chose, everything. So if you want a more in-depth discussion over what we're going to talk about here, then go over to the Anime Radicals. There's a nice little plug. Right, Jay?
That is a plug.
Yes. So, Fire Emblem Three Houses. I love this fucking game. Have you ever played a Fire Emblem game before, Jay?
I've played all the ones that have been on the 3DS, and I will be getting this game when it is a little bit cheaper.
Well, it's a Nintendo game, so that'll never happen.
It'll go on sale at some point here. Everything always does.
Maybe for like 10% off.
Well, it's still cheaper than $100, so, you know.
I say this game's worth every penny.
Well, if I can save $10, I'll save $10.
I don't think that.
Did
You're
you
losing valuable
finish
time, Jay.
Birthright Conquest and Revelations, or did you not finish Birthright Conquest and Revelations?
I forget which one I played, but I finished one of them and then stopped playing the second one.
Right, because I have a 3DS card with all 3 games on it, and I cannot beat one of them for the life of me.
Bummer. That's probably Conquest.
It's one of them. It's freaking hard, and I don't like it because I can't grind. Stupid game.
Well, you can grind in Fire Emblem Three Houses.
I'm in.
Unintentionally.
You've sold it.
Yeah. Fire Emblem Three Houses is the easiest Fire Emblem game I've ever played.
Which house did you choose?
I chose the Golden Deer.
What do they do?
They are the part of the Leicester Alliance. It's democracy. Yay, freedom!
Which did Andrew choose?
He chose the Blue House. The what are they called?
Yay, communism.
Well, communism is, well, they are, let's see. Oh, it doesn't, the Blue Lions, I guess. I think that's what they're called.
All of these names just remind me of friggin' Black Clover friggin' houses and guilds.
No, it's like Harry Potter. It's Harry Potter the video game with waifus.
Which you can breed to make other warriors.
They kind of took that out in Three Houses, I think. I haven't reached that far. I've played 25 hours of this game. I just completed Arc 1.
Wait. How friggin' big's the game if you haven't rated that far and you played 25 hours?
Ask me that one more time.
How freaking big is the game if you played 25 hours?
Oh, it's over 100 hours long.
Wait, per house or like for the whole thing?
I think per house it's 40?
Jesus Christ.
40 or 50? Yeah, it's a long game, man. It's no joke. It's no slouch.
Does each house then have its own story, or is it just going to be like the same story with a different skin, kind of like Birthright and Conquest?
No. From my understanding, different events happen depending on what house you choose.
Right. So it's not then a reskin, which is a good thing. Gotcha.
It has a lot of replay value. So for those that don't know, Fire Emblem is a turn-based strategy game on a board. Think of like chess.
Think of like Wargroove. See, I'm not dumb.
Think of like Wargroove, but unlike Wargroove, where you have battalions and that you have to summon soldiers, and you only have a couple like recurring characters. In Fire Emblem Three Houses, you're this mercenary who joins a church. The church makes you a teacher at the school. There's a school in the church, and you get students. You're the same age as the students, so it's kind of odd. They make fun of that a lot.
That doesn't make any sense.
It's okay. It makes all the sense you need.
Okay.
So then
It's
you're
Japan,
teaching
I'm
the
not gonna
students,
question it.
and when you choose your house, your students go off with you on missions, and then you can recruit students from other houses to join yours. So kind of like a defection to House Ravenclaw or whatever you want to reference, you know? Like, I don't want to be in Hufflepuff anymore. I want to be Ravenclaw kind of deal. And yeah, it's so you played Awakening and Fates.
Yes, and the remake of whatever one it was.
Oh. Echoes.
Yes, that. That was
Did
hard.
you like Echoes?
I did. It was hard, though.
Yes, Echoes is difficile.
Yeah.
So
Good game,
there's
though.
a few
Good game.
the gameplay mechanics that have changed in Fire Emblem Three Houses is there's a rewind system. So if you get F'd or a character
Stuff
dies,
up, you can go backwards a few turns.
right, instead of just restarting the game in the past. So that's a big welcome. However, there is a mechanic as well where you can like give up on the mission, but you keep all your experience for your characters.
Right. Are you playing on the mode where if a character's dead, it's permadeath or not?
Hell yeah, I'm no pussy.
Right,
I
so
play
for
with
me,
permadeath
I
on.
won't be playing on that mode, so it's not really going to matter to me in that regard.
Well, the rewind system is quite nice, because then you don't have to, say, restart the entire mission, because missions could vary from 15 minutes to an hour, you know?
Okay, that's a lot longer than the previous ones.
Well, I mean, depending on, how much you think and don't want characters to die and maneuver around the map. The terrain is much less intensive in this one as years past, which was disappointing to me because I'm very heavy onto the whole strategy and the gameplay element of Fire Emblem. Three Houses doesn't do that. It's much more character-centric and going through the story and how long it is and unlocking character interactions between them and finding their backstories. So it's less about the game play and more about everything else. It's which it's not necessarily a bad thing because it's being different than the games before it. And this is what I spoke about with sequels, right? You need to innovate. You need to do things different in order to keep the player interested, especially me. I am
Nintendo
important.
are usually fairly good at that, though.
Indeed, they are. I absolutely agree. How do you think Mario's stuck around for so long? How do you think Zelda's stuck around for so long?
I would say the same thing about Pokemon, but after a while, they kind of became the same thing with the new gimmick
They're
program.
trying to do different things year over year, but it's still, I don't know, there's something about Pokemon where you have to keep what makes Pokemon Pokemon.
I wanted to bring Megas back. I really do. Mega Evolution was such a good idea. It was like Digimon, but, I mean, we can talk about that later.
Well, Pokemon comes out in November, so we'll have plenty to talk about.
I'm Team friggin' Shield.
Shield? Shield hero over here?
I mean, everyone's getting Sword, dude, so I figured I might as well be different.
Yeah, everyone's getting Sword because they're not freaking shields. Swords are cool.
Look, the legendaries are the same thing anyway, so does it really friggin' matter? They're both dogs. So one carries a shield on it. It's like one is a shield with its face, and the other one's got its sword in its mouth.
Yeah. Ask me questions about Fire Emblem Three Houses here.
You've kind of covered everything I need to know. What's your mercenary like? Is he just kind of your generic Crom or Robin?
Well, he is a silent protagonist.
When you say silent, like silent as in silent, or are we talking like silent and you get to fill in certain things?
I mean, there's answer choices that you do, but he never actually talks. You can choose between male and female to start off with. It does matter in recruiting some characters what gender you choose.
Even Robin spoke. So did I've forgotten the character from friggin' Birthright and Conquest and all that. But Corin was their name. But
Corin,
even they spoke.
Yeah,
That
you don't
was
speak
on-
in this one.
That was on a console that has less RAM and space than a Switch does. That's a bit weird.
Yeah, I found it a little off-putting at first, but it really didn't matter in the end. I honestly didn't care, because it was a lot of the other characters talking.
Right.
And
right.
them interacting between each other. So that's that character focus I was talking about.
Right. I mean, you've kind of covered everything I needed to know about it, dude. Like, I was going to get it regardless, but yeah, I'm a little bit confused as to why your character doesn't talk.
I mean, there's answer dialogues.
Yeah, but it's not the same. No, that sounds dumb.
No, I know what you mean. I'm generally not a fan of silent protagonists where you never hear them talk, but they're directly involved in conversations, kind of deal. Zelda kind of pokes fun at that because they never let him talk, kind of deal.
You know, I'm trying to think of like one of the what are some good games with a silent protagonist?
Well, Zelda,
Well, yeah, that. I mean, besides that,
Mario.
yeah, GTA 3 kind of, I guess.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
Mm.
Anyway, moving on.
Yeah, might as well move on. So those were July games. Fire Emblem Three Houses is in my top 5 of the year.
Excellent.
Yeah, it
Excellent.
is a must-have.
So, my dude, on to August. What is Oninaki?
All right, it has been a good day since since I last dabbled in Oninaki. I gotta pull up Oninaki. Pull up a little memory here. I know I didn't like it.
File corrupted. Please try again.
So it's made by the same people that did Lost Sphere and I Am Setsuna. You know, the cheaply made,
I Am
poor
Setsuna was...
RPG games.
I liked I Am Setsuna.
I didn't care for it. I really didn't like Lost Sphere. That's for
Yeah,
sure.
that one I can agree with, because I got a soft spot for I Am Setsuna. It was... reminded me enough of the old Final Fantasy games to be enjoyable.
So, it's made by Tokyo RPG Factory. Those guys. I didn't find the gameplay all that interesting. It was like kind of Boulder Gate-ish. You know, top-down action. It's not the RPGs they've done in the past.
Mm-hmm.
It's trying to build off this dark, brooding story that wasn't particularly interesting as well. It was very religious-based.
Right. You kind of lost my attention there, just off that one, but yeah.
Yeah. I never could get into this game, and if you're not roping me in within the first, half hour to hour, I'm probably not going to like it. And this game just doesn't have anything going for it.
Yeah, that's a bit of a disappointment.
Yeah. I know you could... It's very bare bones for what it is. Top-down action. There's skill trees. There's things there's weapons to unlock kind of deal. But in this kind of top-down action, I don't know how else to describe it. There's just nothing to it really. And I think that's how Tokyo RPG Factory functions. They're very bare bones about it. They take influence from games before it, and then they don't do it as well.
Well, that's a bit of a disappointment.
Yeah, that's my screaming review. And I was hearing, the only reason why I wanted to check this game out is I listen to the PlayStation Blogcast like every week.
Uh-huh.
And they were talking about Oninaki for just weeks. Right? They're like, oh, it looks kind of cool. The story looks interesting. Gameplay looks like it'd be engaging. It's none of those things. So
That's disappointing.
You know what a game is all of those things?
Astral Chain?
Astral Chain. Oh, it's anime as fuck, by the way.
I'm in. What is an Astral Chain?
So, have you played Bayonetta?
Have I played Bayonet? To be honest with you, no, but I've seen people play them.
Have you played Devil May Cry?
Have I played DMC? We had this conversation before. No, I've never actually played a DMC, but once again,
Have
seen
you
people
played
play
Nier
them.
Automata?
Yes, dude. But
Okay.
Look, I've seen people play those other games. I own Bayonetta. I just haven't played Bayonetta.
So the gameplay is in that realm of action. Okay, you have your dodge mechanic, and you have your button mashing combo stuff, right?
Right.
Astral Chain is also anime as fuck, anime AF, AAF, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
So your main characters are twins, a boy and a girl, because of course
far,
they
so
are.
good.
And this is very important, whichever character you choose is a silent protagonist, while the twin is going to do all the talking. So I originally chose the girl, right?
Because you're like me and plays chicks in games.
Yes, and chicks
Cool.
are better video game characters. I said it. There you go. And so she never talked, but the man did. So I go, wait a minute. I'm going to start this over. I'm going to choose the guy this time. And then the girl talked the rest of the time, and she had a personality. And I went, oh, this is way better.
Oh, so good, so good.
Okay, so what is Astral Chain? Astral Chain, you are a police officer, and the world is on the brink of extinction. Humans, anyways.
Sounds so far like the plot to an anime.
It very much is. Of course, it's the basic post-apocalypse. There's these crazy interdimensional creatures pulling humans into their dimension and corrupting them. And in order to fight the interdimensional creatures, this mad scientist dude, of course he's old, has captured these dimension creatures, and he puts this wild chain around them, and now they do their bidding, kind of deal. So think of a dog you have trained to be your lifelong companion situation, and they're bound to you by a chain.
Right.
So get it? They are astral dimensional creatures bound by a chain. Astral Chain. Ooh.
The name actually makes sense.
Yes, name makes perfect sense. So that's your setup, and of course your adopted father works for this organization, this police force that deals with the dimensional creatures. The problem is that I guess this is a new technology of how to fight the dimensional creatures. There's only 4 members of this force.
And then something will go wrong.
Oh, and so I played 2 hours of this game. Okay. Played the
I'm
first
watching
2 hours.
some gameplay for it now from Nintendo Treehouse. It looks like very anime.
It's very anime, and the fighting mechanics are very addicting. The action gameplay mechanics.
I'm watching him fight this big monkey-looking thing.
Yes, that's what I fought. That's your first mission as part of the force, and after you beat the monkey, you get pulled into the dimension, and you have an epic battle for your survival. And then your fellow police officers come and save you in the dimension, and then a twist happens where your adopted father says, "Go on without me. I'll hold them off."
He's going to be
situation.
the big boss of the game.
Oh, he's going to be the big evil? Pull the stereotypical anime swerve?
Yeah. Dude, this game looks like... Oh my god, it looks so good.
It is... So, Jay, the opening sequence is you are on a motorcycle. And you're racing down the streets of wherever this takes place. Fake Tokyo 2035. I don't know.
Neo Tokyo.
Neo Tokyo. Neo New Tokyo. New Neo Tokyo. Whatever the G Gundam one was. So you're just racing down the street at night, and these interdimensional creatures are chasing after you. There's cars exploding. You're shooting them with a gun. You're doing dodge mechanics with the motorcycle. It's an epic start.
Dude.
It's pretty cool.
Dude, I'm in.
Yeah, it's an anime AF action game by Platinum, the Bayonetta people. It's a
Always
slam
good
dunk.
when there's a game that like reminds you of anime that's actually good. Because anime games come out of few and far between good.
I know, right? I waited to the last second to get this game. When I saw that the average critic score. First of all, when the critic scores come out like a day or two before the game comes out officially, that's a good sign usually. That the company believes in their product, right? Because they let critics have the game early and let it score early. So when I saw that, it came out 2 days early, and then it got like 88s across the board minimum, I was like, oh. Okay,
You're
going
like,
on
I'm
Amazon,
in.
getting it. That is mine immediately. Because, yeah, like you said, usually when an AAF game, anime as fuck game, comes out, usually it's like, it gets like a 74, 76, not very good. There's a lot
They've
of
got
issues.
a few redeeming qualities. There's a couple of issues here and there.
Most
but
likely you'll play it for like 2 hours and then you just go, yeah, I'm kind of bored of it now. Situation. Yeah. This is none of that. I have played 2 hours, and if I wasn't so wrapped up in Fire Emblem right now, I would definitely be focusing on Astral Chain.
Right.
Yeah. So Astral Chain is definitely a must-buy for Switch owners, a must-buy for anime fans. I did see one person tweet Astral Chain's not worth $60. I agree. That game's worth like $100.
How much? So it's a it's a normal price release.
Yes.
Let's see how much it is here.
Probably 100.
But that's probably...
No. How much
80.
was Gears? 80, right?
Gears was 69, but I price matched that for somewhere.
Yeah.
79.95 ain't too bad.
No.
Alrighty.
That's worth it.
So, moving on. Next up we have The Blair Witch, also known as A Game and Its Dog.
A game and its dog. You know the dog dies, right?
You know that the
think that was
dog,
kinda-
up until it dies, is like revealing where enemies are and that sort of thing to make the horror aspect of the game not be horror.
Yeah, I found it kind of lame. So Blair Witch was kind of the E3 surprise, right? For Xbox.
Yeah, it's a shame it didn't turn out as well as they were hoping.
No, it's very buggy. It's not scary. I found it more annoying. You know?
Yeah, I can get that.
Yeah, I didn't play this very long. I just couldn't get into it. It felt like weak Outlast.
Yeah,
If that makes sense.
yeah, I can see that.
So you're
That's
in a
a very good
forest.
comparison.
You're a police officer. You're looking for a child. You have various like kooky items like a radio and a Walkman or whatever the fuck, right? And you're just walking. It's almost like a walking simulator with a camera. You're not
Walking
doing
simulator,
anything.
horror walking simulator 2019.
Yeah, I didn't play this very long. Not much to say about it. It didn't tickle my fancy. Like I was more into Sinking City because at least it was a broken fun mess. Blair Witch, I was just going,
It's just
I don't want
dull.
to play this anymore. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was very bored.
Yeah, that about sums that up.
Yeah. All right, Ancestors.
I didn't touch it. What have you got?
Okay. This is Be the Monkey, the game.
Okay.
So
Give
this
me a little bit
was.
more to go on that.
Did Ubisoft make Ancestors? I feel like Ubisoft made Ancestors.
You know, I'm just going to look up some gameplay.
Ancestors. The Humankind Odyssey.
Here we go. Found
That's
it.
the full name of it.
Gotcha.
So
That's
this game's
definitely a monkey.
It's published by Private Division, developed by Panache Digital Games. Does Ubisoft own them? I feel like Ubisoft owns them. Oh! It's the guy who created Assassin's Creed. That makes so much sense.
Do we get to be a monkey assassin?
I mean, that is kind of part of it, actually. So, at the game store that I get to demo a lot of these things, there's been one file that the whole store plays for Ancestors, because it just takes so long to get going, right? And I just didn't have that kind of time. And no one else really does, but everyone was kind of weirdly into this game. So you're a monkey, and you start as a dumb, stupid monkey. And then
The further you get, the smarter your dumb monkey becomes.
Well, you peruse around the jungle, discovering, like, sticks and rocks and canopies and whatever, and it's like, oh, I found a rock, and I found another rock. Maybe if I bang it together, I will get sharp rock kind of situation. You have to constantly do those things with your entire environment. The game doesn't have any direction to it. It's all... Think of, like, Minecraft, right? Where it's all on you to do your own thing and to progress in your own way. No Man's Sky is kind of like that too, right?
Yeah.
But with Ancestors, with everything you discover, your monkey gets a little smarter. He develops a new technique, a new like food to eat, a new instinct, etc. And then what you do is you take all that knowledge and you need to procreate as well, and pass it on, pass these genes that you've now learned on to the next generation. And one thing the game just failed to really... There's certain things that the game should tell you,
but it doesn't.
At least, but it doesn't do anything, like how to evolve. And you have to actually, like, go into a canopy and sleep, and that'll bring up your, like, neuron. It's like this big neuron network. And that's think of it, your skill tree. That's what you're developing, and you're evolving your monkey, and you just keep doing that over and over and over again until you become like the Homo sapien situation.
Right. So this is out on PC, but it's not out on console yet.
Right.
Comes out
PC.
on console in December.
Yeah, it's gonna be a while.
Yeah.
I think it's the Epic Games Store exclusive.
Is it good?
It's kind of busted. It has all of the Assassin's Creed, like, climbing elements to it, which is, Jay, you and I played the fuck out of Assassin's Creed games, so we know how that works.
If you don't like Odyssey, I like Odyssey, so forth and so on.
Yeah, I might get Odyssey when it's $20.
I think that's how much I pay for it. It's a freaking good game.
I'm sure it's much better now.
Yeah. See, it's got
it really infuriated me when it came out.
Its highest rating was from IGN that I can see, and it's a 7 out of 10.
Ancestors?
Yeah, and its lowest rating from PC Gamer is a 58.
So this is where that's because it takes so goddamn long to get anywhere. But it's weirdly satisfying when you just go, ooh, I found obsidian, which is volcanic rock, right? It's very sharp.
Yep.
And then, in order to get to the point where you can take the obsidian and mash it with another rock, make it sharp, and then attach it to a stick, takes forever. Because you have to develop first the stick thing, and you have to develop first the rock thing. Then you have to develop the rock plus stick thing. And then you have to develop rope. Well, how do you get rope? Well, you have to do the reeds, and, you have to, like, think in your head a goal you want. And how are you going to work to that goal? By being the bare bones, knowing nothing.
Right. I'm going to have to check this out when it comes out. It sounds interesting, but I need to see how it handles everything.
Yeah, there's still a lot of bugs in the game. It's very ambitious, that's for sure. But like I said, it's weird. It's weirdly interesting.
Sounds like it. It sounds like it.
Okay.
Right.
So now this is the point where my mom and I are going to talk about Control for a good little while. When we come back, get Jay's opinion, and then we'll go on to our last game of the podcast.
Sounds like a plan.
All right. And what you just heard was the intro music drop for the new recurring segment in the Modern Gaming Podcast. And just like joining me in the wrestling recap, the wrestling podcast, is my mother. How you doing, Mom?
Hey, good. How are you this morning?
Good. Got my coffee. Ready to go.
Got my coffee ready to go. Yeah, let's talk about control. I have no control.
I have no control to talk about this game. So the idea behind this is to get a third-party perspective, the Let's Play perspective, for a game of the month. So every Saturday over at BowlingJD on Twitch, Mixer, Red Leaf Retrocast on YouTube, you can check out the game of the month that I will be playing, and my mom and I are just hanging out talking to each other and getting a nice little perspective on the game. This month's game is Control. What Control is about, because it's kind of confusing, wouldn't you say, Mother?
Yeah, a little bit. I kind of ask a lot of questions because I'm lost in the game as a viewer watching it, asking why.
Well, those are yes, and the question, the game makes you want to ask those questions why all the time, and it could possibly get overwhelming at times. You have way too many questions you need answers to, and it's not giving them fast enough. It seems everything's very esoteric. So, Control is developed by Remedy Games, the Max Payne, Alan Wake people. Their most recent title that they came out with was Quantum Break, a very underwhelming game to say the least. This is their first game to come out on a PlayStation console since the Max Payne days. So they've been mostly PC people.
What did I read? 16 years?
Yes.
Yeah,
16 years ago.
So it's been a long time for to wait for another game.
Well, at least on a PlayStation console, yeah.
Develop a game?
No. Well, I mean, some games go through development hell and they take decades to come out.
Okay.
No, this a game usually takes a few years. So Control was published by 505 Games, a publisher I'm familiar with because they made a game called Brothers. So two companies kind of coming together to make a sci-fi action-adventure game. You are Jesse Hayden, whom walks into the FBC Paranormal Headquarters in New York. And the FBC is the Federal Bureau of Control. And you're exploring, you play the whole game in this bureau, and they call it the Oldest House. And the game immediately starts off with everyone's missing, right? There's no one there. And so you slowly get introduced to things one at a time. You come across a janitor who's, I guess, kind of Romanian or Swedish or something. He's got a weird accent.
I think he's Russian.
You think he's Russian?
I do. He's got to be Russian.
The janitor is a slew of mysteries. You know, who is he? Why does he know so much? What's his purpose? Why is he more or less guiding you, right?
Well, I want to know why he's not affected. And he doesn't have any special apparatus on him or anything.
Right. So you find out rather quick that within this building that there's an entity that's kind of taken over, and they're from another dimension or such as which. This game, at its core, is I think it's called SCP, Secure Control Protect, or Secure Contain Protect, something like that. You've seen a lot of movies like that, Mother.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So you find these various bunkers or like safe doors, and you open it, and there's various employees that have escaped in there to escape the entities that's taken over. And they're wearing these seatbelt apparatuses called HRCs, and they protect them from the entities. And Jesse Hayden decides to call them the Hiss, and it just kind of sticks. The person that you're talking to, she's kind of a liaison, more or less, because everyone's all up in arms with this takeover. Emily Pope, she goes, "Oh, that's a great name. We'll call him the Hiss too." Just so everyone's on the same page. And the first 3 to 4 hours of the game is really just trying to get the basics under control. And the basics consist of, let's find out what's happening, get a scope of the area. And then second is, the nuclear kind of power is going to make the building explode. Can't have that. And why is this building run on nuclear power? Well, it has a defense mechanism that will change the building's appearance, both inside and outside, to really make it incognito towards everything, right? You can't just find this place and walk in. Well, you immediately then ask, well, how did Jesse Hayden have it? Well, Jesse Hayden has a entity of her own that's within her. And she self-monologues a lot in the game. What do you think of the self-monologues?
Yeah. She talks, it's like she's talking to within herself.
Right.
But there's we don't know for a fact if there is someone else within her. If you see her eyes, it's like she's thinking about what she's talking out loud kind of feeling, maybe. It's like when you talk to yourself, innerly talk to yourself.
Yeah, inner monologue.
Yeah.
And she questions a lot of things, and in normal human conversations, say that you and I are talking, Mom, and you ask me something, I'm not going to think for 3 seconds over the possibilities of how I'm going to answer it and leave you in silence, right? It's just kind of, you might take maybe a split second and go, I should probably say something else, right?
Right.
But in Control, she has almost a full conversation, whether it's by herself or with this entity, that doesn't answer back. Or at least we can't hear the entity. I think that's why you believe that we don't know for sure if this entity that's within her is, in fact, anything. It could just be she's crazy.
Or she's
right?
just thinking out loud or in loud.
No, the game does make it seem like there's at least a second thing. It makes you think she's talking to somebody within her. Whether that's true or not is part of the mystery.
Well, my question is, why did they name it Hiss?
Because they make those sounds. You know, we hear them throughout the game. You know, when you come across the enemies and the Hiss control people, and there's like Cthulhu monsters that come after you, and they're making these weird grunts and
Oh, okay.
sounds. You remember those. So Jesse Hayden just calls them the Hiss because of that sound. And the name stuck.
Gotcha.
So what did you think of the start of the game, where the director of the bureau kind of shoots himself in the head, he dies, Jesse finds him, and then she gets the kind of super gun? What did you think of how the game started?
Well, I agree with you that it starts a little slow because there's a lot to gather as far as information and a lot of paperwork. I'm not understanding what the paperwork thing is all about. You probably know more about that than me. Because sometimes you need the paperwork, sometimes you don't. It's like when you were picking up boxes or whatever, you know. I liked it, but I still have a lot of questions. So, but as we've gone through the different areas, I'm getting more drawn into it. So
Yeah, there's a lot of documents you have to pick up, read them, and hopefully you happen to find the right one that will kind of answer a couple things about what's going on. Whether it's what, how, and when the HRCs or the HIS came into play, and then if you don't find those documents or read them, when a conversation happens later, you just go, well, why did that come out, and when did we learn that? Right?
Right. And I think, isn't our other question is why is everyone hanging from the ceiling?
Yeah, when the people are controlled by the Hiss or taken over, they kind of go through this anti-gravity thing, and they're just kind of hanging out in the air. And then when you step into an area, they drop from the ceiling, and then they fight you. But why that encases them up in the air is kind of funny. It makes it creepy, that's for sure.
It's different.
But yeah, it is different. It's
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did not see that. I never saw that they actually drop out of the ceiling and then they start fighting. I didn't never see that. I must have missed that.
Yeah, it happens. It happened a few times where you can directly see them drop.
Oh, well, you'll have to point that out to me.
Yeah, I'll point it out next time.
I never knew. I never knew where these, because I was wondering all along, where are these people coming from? You know, because all of a sudden they appear, and now it makes sense. They drop from the ceiling, but still they have guns. They have they have ammunition. They have body armor. But a lot of those people that are hanging from the ceiling look like typical business people, workers.
Well, yeah, it's like the security force and the workers that now have weapons because the Hiss control them. That's the reason behind that. So there's a lot of spirituality behind these entities. Your super gun kind of talks to Jesse Hayden, which is kind of weird. We are led to believe that the board, that's what they call it, like the people that control from, I guess, a second dimension, or possibly from the same dimension, and they're battling the Hiss as well. Now there's some bleed over in between these dimensions getting into our world, right? So the board, through this gun, has chosen now Jesse Hayden to take control. There's the play on the word is very fitting for the game. Yeah, and what this gun does is it gets you to unlock different abilities. Whether that's the gun can shapeshift into all kinds of guns. There's a shotgun form, a pistol form, etc., etc. You can upgrade that, attach like mods to it to make them stronger in various ways, and then you pass other tests through the board that gives you more like telekinetic abilities. So Jesse Hayden can fairly quick into the game, I would say an hour and a half, you finally unlock your levitation ability, the ability to throw boxes and debris at your enemies, which is really cool. And then you unlock other things, like the ability to quick dodge. It's almost like you propel yourself through your telekinetic ability. So she's slowly becoming Jean Grey from X-Men with a gun.
Yeah, there you go.
So these abilities and the way the world is, what do you think about that? What is your opinion?
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. I think that her capabilities and being able to build on those, I do like it that she has the capability to throw big boxes and stuff. I try to get you to throw that big equipment.
She can't. Yeah, she can't quite lift the bigger stuff yet, but you get the feeling that eventually you will be able to, and that'll be very satisfying.
Yeah, because she was able to do a giant compressor, and that's why I said, "Well, try that loader."
Yeah, the big forklift.
Throw the loader. But you weren't able to do it yet.
Yeah.
But that would be cool if she would.
Oh, I have no doubt that we'll eventually get to that point in the game where you can use that. I played a game years ago called Psyops, and it was very similar with the telekinetic focus in the gameplay. There was also guns and stuff you could use, so this game takes a lot of inspiration from that, I feel.
So this game is not only available on PlayStation. Did I read that it's also available on the computer too?
Yes, PC and Xbox are the other two it's on.
Yeah. Okay.
So go on.
My question is that also for the other games that this company has put out, they do that also for those games? Is that normal for most games to be available on PC and Xbox?
PC, yes. Xbox and PlayStation are, well, they're competitors. So
Right.
there are things as exclusives. So that's made by PlayStation and Microsoft themselves, or they publish the games and they make them only available on theirs. Then you got games like Control, which is a third-party developer, and if they don't have like an exclusive deal struck with Microsoft or PlayStation,
gotcha.
then
Okay.
they'll release them on everything generally.
Oh, okay.
Get your game out to the most public possible,
Sure.
basically.
Gotcha.
Now, there are two things that are very egregious in this game besides the slow start. But I think once the slow start, once you take it all in and you start putting the strings together, or attaching the strings together, it starts flowing much better. You and I both kind of weren't quite feeling it after, an hour and a half.
Right.
But then the next 2 hours, we're just going, okay, now everything's getting good.
Well, I think once you get past the what do you call it? The oh, my mind went blank. Kind of near when we finished the part going through the reactor and finishing all that. Then things started to get interesting. I said that would be a good place for us to
pick it up next time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that
fixing the reactor. Yeah.
Yes, I think that area there was the most. It started to come together a little more.
It got much more action packed.
Yeah.
Yeah, I quite like that as well. What I don't like is the slowdown of the game, the performance issues. It lagged out a lot when too much shit was happening on the screen, or when you first get into a new area, it like chugs for a good few seconds, and you're just like, oh my god, what's happening? And then the worst thing in the game is definitely the map. It's extremely hard to navigate. You can't zoom in on the map at all. You can't get a sense of direction. There's no sense of floors, right? Whether something's on the first or second floor.
Right. Yeah, like when you were losing, where's the security? I said, well, it's got to be at the beginning. And it's just something you missed. But you're like, where is it? Where is it? And there was nothing that told you where it was or where to go. It was something you had to figure out.
Right. Well, there was a sign, and it goes, oh, you got to go find the security office. And I'm like, oh, that's probably in the control center or next to it. And I'm following the signs because there's no map that says, security office here. Or it's not on the map. So I'm following the signs and going in circles. I'm like, where is this freaking thing?
Right.
And speaking of performance issues, when we did find the security office,
oh my gosh,
hilarious bug happened.
Yeah, that was a pretty big bug too. I could call him the floater. It was kind of a funny floating dance.
Yeah. So what happened was we find the security guard in the security office, and we start a conversation with him, and he's working on the big computer system that we're staring in front of. Well, as soon as we engage the conversation, he disappears. We're like, what happened? He's gone, but the text is still going on, the subtitles are still on the bottom of the screen.
Right.
And she's
and
talking
you're
to nobody.
You're talking to no one.
Well, what
you're talking
happened...
to someone, but there's no one there that you're talking to.
Right, we're like, is that him, like, slightly to the right? And we can see his shoulder? Well, what happened was he teleports to a different part of the room, but the camera's still fixated on where he should be. And then when you get out of the conversation, he just appears right in front of you in this, like, crouched position, like he's still working at the computer, and he's floating left to right.
Yeah, it was interesting.
It was funny. So yeah, performance issues and the
and
map.
that was several. That wasn't just one time. That was several times.
Right, it just kept happening.
Yeah, it was a obvious glitch in the system.
Yeah. He was not taking control of the situation.
No, he was totally out of control. He must have been taken over by the hiss.
He wasn't taken over by the hiss. Maybe that was the problem.
Oh, right.
So Jesse Hayden's motivation for finding this bureau is looking for her, I guess, younger brother, whom she believes was taken by the bureau because he scored a high aptitude test. And we learned this at the very end of our little playthrough that we did, the first 3-4 hours, is to essentially take over as director, someone who can directly communicate to the other side, right? Or with the board, as they say.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where we left off. That's an answer, and you would think we'd get an answer like that quickly. But this does make sense, where Jesse Hayden doesn't trust these people. She thinks they took them. Why would she tell them why she's there, right?
Right.
To protect herself. It
Right.
makes sense. But for a video game, you get the feeling like you want these quick so you can just move on and play. Right?
Right.
Um...
Well, you're
So
either drawn in or, it's like a good book or a slower book.
Mm-hmm.
A good book will draw you in pretty quickly. This seems to be a much slower book that may or may not draw you in.
Yeah, I could see people
I guess it
putting
would
this
be
down.
How much patience you have, or how involved you want to get in the game itself, if you're willing to wait a while, because it's not going to happen right away.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, okay. Where do you think all of this is going to lead? Because we have all these questions. My biggest question is the janitor. He seems to have a much bigger role than More Than Meets the Eye. He's very ominous. And I'm wondering...
You figure it out. I want you to figure it out.
Now you owe me one.
Now you owe me one.
Yeah, it's like Count Dracula.
I want to see
Sesame
more
Street.
of him, actually.
Yeah, he's very interesting.
Yeah.
So, do you like Jesse Hayden as a character right now, or where do you think the story's going? Where do you think the game's gonna head?
Well, there's so much more to investigate.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm curious to know if, in fact, her brother's even in that building, because apparently she thinks he is.
Right, and Emily Pope just goes, "I have no record of this, but
Right.
there's a lot of things hidden here."
Right, and so and there's once a room comes into play, there's more behind the door, and so what you see on the outside may not be true on the inside once that room finally appears. So her brother could very well be in the building, in a secret room. But I want to know where everyone else is. other than hanging on the ceiling.
Yeah, there's got to be more people to find and communicate with.
So that's why I think that there's, once you get into a room and then the walls come down, it's a different type of room. And so something's being hidden behind these walls.
Yeah.
It's another type of building.
And lastly, there's this. This is something I didn't read prior to the game or what it was going to be about, was these, what they call objects of power. And I guess they have supernatural features or connections to the other side, or they can amplify a latent power within you. They do something, and they take forms of things normal in society, and like a telephone, like a rotary telephone, or a protractor, or something, right? And whenever these objects of power come into play, I like them in concept, but it just seems to kind of convolute things a little bit too much. I'm not really sure what the purpose is, where we're going with all of this, if these things are even necessary. They just seem to be almost like a MacGuffin.
So they haven't appeared for us yet, though.
Yeah, the telephone. Remember, go answer the phone?
Right, but did it...
Whole section? That was an object of power.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. Huh. Well, that happened at the beginning. That's no wonder I forgot.
I
remember
so long ago.
Go answer the phone, but I didn't know that it had a special power.
Yes.
Did it give her power?
No. It like teleported her into this hotel, and it kind of gave her hints to other things happening. It was very strange. That was our kind of first mission to figure out what the hell's going on.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah.
So as we progress through the game, we're going to come across, this is where I think, we're going to come across more of these objects of power, and for each object that we come across, whether it'll help us gain a power or answer a question that we have.
So there's supposed to be more objects of power?
I think so.
Oh, but you don't know.
I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah, we don't know.
We only know the phone had power.
We only know the phone was an object.
Okay.
So, and that's Control. I'm definitely invested. It did take a little too much time to get going. I could see a bunch of people putting it down. The map is atrocious. I think that's going to be the most annoying part of the game. And your final thoughts?
I agree.
You agree.
I agree, because I can't even read the map.
Right, that's a big problem.
It is a big problem.
I'm playing the game and I have trouble reading it.
I can't read the map. It's too small. It's blurry. I'm like, I have to really look and see where you're at, and then by then you're already gone, and I'm like, I don't know where you have to go.
Yeah. Well, from a viewer perspective, are you officially invested now and want to see where this goes?
I'm invested now because we finally got through all the cuckoo stuff.
Okay. All right. So we do pass the game. It just it has its flaws. That's for sure.
Yeah, it's entertaining. The only thing that I wish is that maybe somebody else came in for a little while to have a conversation with you, other than the actual people, but to help her. I thought,
yeah, you wanted like a partner or something,
yeah,
or a more direct person, rather than we go hang out with Emily Pope in an office every once in a while.
Yeah, it would be. I wish you had a partner or something thrown in there once in a while, or just to shake things up a little bit.
Instead of inner monologue, she can
add some more interest, a little bit more interest to me.
I can get behind that. Yeah.
All
right.
That's the only thing I saw that I would like to add.
Thank you, Mom.
Hey, you're welcome.
It was great having you on. I'm looking forward to this going forward with the podcast. This is just a little once a month thing.
Sure.
We're going to pick our game for October here pretty soon. but we are going to continue Control on Saturday afternoons. Head on over to Twitch or Mixer at BowlingJD or YouTube Red Leaf Retrocast and come join us on the streams.
Perfect.
All right. See you next time.
All right.
Okay, Jay, we're back. My mom had some interesting things to say about Control. Now I'm curious to your opinion over Control, because you got this game pretty much when it came out, just like I did, and you traded it in already.
Well, I didn't trade it in. I played it for a few hours and I returned it because... Is it just me, or is it lacking something? Or maybe I didn't play it enough in order for the things that it was lacking to be fixed?
Well, there was a lot of slowdown and some bugs. That is undeniable.
So you played it on the PS4, didn't you?
I did.
Because I played it on the Xbox One, simply because the Xbox One was plugged in.
What a reason.
I know, that's a dumb reason to play it on the Xbox One, but, I mean, it worked. Look, it was fine. It did everything it needed to do well enough. It was slow. And the story, for as much as they were revealing, wasn't bringing me in the way that it should have been.
And that is a fair complaint. That was actually something my mom and I agreed on. Was its slow start.
Okay, so
we got about 3.5 hours in, and it was just getting to, like, everything was finally coming together to be interesting.
Right, so I probably just didn't play it for long enough then.
Yeah, but I've played games in the past, and you know me, I have my 2-hour rule, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if the game doesn't rope you in within 2 hours, that's not your fault for not giving it enough time. That's the game's fault for not bringing it in, especially if it's story-based.
Which Control kind of is.
Yes, indeed. Absolutely it is.
See, even if a game, though, like, as we were saying before, if it doesn't have a good story, if the gameplay itself is fun, and you're getting something out of the gameplay, it doesn't always need to have a good story.
Right, and even in the progression of the gameplay itself, it was slow as well.
What was that, sorry?
It takes like an hour just for the telekinesis power to come into play.
It does. It does. I don't know whether I didn't give the game enough time. I don't know whether it was because it was too slow. I don't know. I didn't like it.
What did you think of Jesse Hayden there?
Was that the main character?
Yeah.
I feel like she had stuff going on, but I didn't play enough in there to figure out what that was.
What was your first impression over the janitor?
He's a weird guy, but he's trustworthy.
You think he's trustworthy? Ooh.
He's not trustworthy. He's the big boss. Ooh.
Wouldn't shock me. He's the big bad in the end or some shit.
It seems too obvious to make him the big boss.
I mean, I wouldn't put it past games these days.
Yeah, that is kind of true. I wish Control was a little bit quicker and revealed things a little bit quicker. And then maybe I might have stuck with it. It's just, for as much as I played, I didn't feel like I got enough out of it to keep playing.
That's totally fair. Totally fair.
Yeah. But, well, if you and your mum agree with me in those regards, then I guess there's really nothing else that we could talk about with it.
Right. And my mom and I went in a lot bigger detail anyways, so.
Yeah, look, there's no point in continuing on, like, from where you guys left off, because you've kind of covered everything.
Yeah. Yeah, I never blame anyone for not getting into a game. You gave it a good shot. You weren't into it. Fair enough to me. It's just like retro games. You know, a story-ridden modern game, you know, my rule is 2 hours. You know, it's almost like watching anime. 2 to 3 to 4 episodes situation. With retro games, whether it's an action platformer or whatever it may be, you usually get the idea within like 20 minutes.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about our last game here. Something that we have different opinions on, which is why we saved it for last.
You didn't like it.
What's the name of the game, Jay?
Yeah, it's called I Liked It, You Didn't Like It. The game is Medan, also known as the spiritual successor to Until Dawn, which was a fantastic game.
I really liked Until Dawn.
So did I. So why didn't you like this?
Why did I not like Man of Medan?
Man of Medan? I don't know exactly how it said, but yep.
Yeah, Man of Medan. So you're a group of, I guess, college students or some bullshit.
You're four friends. You're a group of 5 people who end up on a ghost ship.
Kind of.
Well, look, we can't. I don't know how far you got into it. I don't know if you really worked out what was. Okay, so you worked out what was going on then. Good. Are we doing full spoilers here, or are we not doing full spoilers?
Yeah, let's do full spoilers. Fuck it.
Okay. So, what was your issue with it?
Besides everything?
It wasn't a bad game. It did what it needed to do.
No, it didn't. No, it did not, Jay.
It wasn't a full price release. I'm judging it on the fact that it wasn't a full price game.
I'm judging it on the fact that we have Until Dawn to compare it to, the same company.
Yeah, okay, but Until Dawn's what, like a 15-hour game, whereas this is 4 hours?
So what? We can compare it to the first 4 hours of Until Dawn.
Until Dawn had a much bigger story to set up.
So here's the thing. There's no gameplay. It's all QTEs.
It reminds me of a Telltale game.
Let's compare it to a Telltale game then. Because here's the other thing. Until Dawn and Telltale, your choices matter. Right?
They kind of mattered in this one as well.
No. Because you can choose whatever you want, right? And the consequences aren't there.
They are there.
At all.
For example,
what? Give me an example.
Alright, so right at the start of the game, like when you and when you're down scuba diving, did you decompress or did you not decompress?
I decompressed because
because if you
would
didn't
die
decompress there,
otherwise.
regardless of what happens towards the end of the game, that chick's gonna die.
Well, of course, that's what decompressing does.
I know, but that's just one of those things. Like, if you didn't decompress there, she's going to die at a later time in the game. It comes back into play at that regard. If you run from the monster when you're playing as, I've forgotten his name, but the jock kind of rich boy, and stuff that up, you will die there. If you hide and stuff that up, you will die there. There are consequences for your actions if you do things wrong.
Go back a couple steps there.
Okay, which part?
So the whole decompressing thing, that's a choice that's obvious, right?
Yeah.
You shouldn't rise because, yeah, you will kill the character. Now, if you don't know what decompressing is, then you won't understand what's happened. They'll probably tell you that in the game. Okay, fine. That's fair. Now, there's instances where, let's take your, you find out, like, immediately, because they say Manchurian gold, okay? Let's say you don't know what Manchurian gold is. It's not actually gold.
It's not. It's a chemical.
It's a chemical, yeah. And what does the chemical do? Well, it
causes hallucinations.
It causes hallucinations. So the ship isn't haunted, and you, because they say Manchurian gold, you go, oh. So they're hallucinating the whole time. Okay.
Yeah, like the monsters are literally your friends.
Right. So you know that right away. And that took...
You do if you pay attention.
Well, they say Manchurian gold. You should put one and one together immediately.
Yeah, well, there are people out there that probably wouldn't have figured that out, but moving on.
All right. Well, they do tell you what's happening very quickly. Like within, I would say, 2 hours of the 4 hour experience?
Yeah, because it's on the bridge, isn't it?
Yeah, because they all meet back up and they start going, things are here, but not actually here. And
yeah, you find it as Fliss and then blah, 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 blah. By that point, I already had a character killed, though, because I stuffed up.
Oh. I didn't have anybody die.
Yeah, good for you.
Yeah.
I think I had 3 people die, but They were my own stupid mistakes. One of them was because I stuffed up a QTE.
So missing a QuickTime event and having your character die, I think, is very lame. I don't like that. I'm very against that. So, and I felt that all of my choice, I was making like dumb choices the whole time, right?
Right.
And then everything else was reliant on a QTE. So as long as I didn't mess up a QTE, no one would die.
Well, okay. Towards the end of the game, you know, like when you got that guy there who's pointing the gun, I've forgotten the character's names, but like you're there with the blonde chick and the brother, the nerdy brother, and he's like, the gas, man, it's making people change, so forth and so on.
Right.
If you say to him the gas isn't real, he'll kill one of the characters regardless.
But don't you find that stupid?
A little bit, yeah.
Like, there's not... In Until Dawn and a Telltale game, right, they will hint and guide you to make certain choices. So then you know what choice you're picking will lead you to that event from happening. In that instance that you just described, how are you supposed to know which one to pick? Because I'm going to be honest, I guessed on a lot of them, because I'm just like, the game's not telling me how I should react to these things. The game's not hinting at it.
Would you rather have the game hint at you and kind of try to give you directions as to what you're supposed to do, or would you rather play through it making your own decisions without being hinted at?
I'd rather there be reasons to the decisions I make, rather than just, oh, it's a split-second decision, just because.
Well, people react differently, dude, in different circumstances. Like, you and I wouldn't have the same playthrough because we would react differently.
I understand that, but the way the game presented itself just seemed like it was flipping a coin. One too many times.
Fair enough.
Yeah, go on.
If that's what you thought of it, dude, like, I'm probably... Whatever I say is probably not gonna, like, affect your judgment here. I enjoyed it for what it was.
What about the story?
The story was dumb. The story was tropey, but then again, that's kind of the whole thing that this company does.
So, in Until Dawn, how the characters interacted with each other and how the dialogue went is how it told the story. And even though it was trope-filled and kind of making fun of teenage horror movies, the interactions made sense, right?
Correct.
And it made sense with the dialogue of your choices. In this one, it was very strange. It never clicked because you would answer, okay, you're on the boat, not the haunted, not the ghost ship yet, the not ghost ship. You're on the exploration boat that they're on, Fliss's boat, right?
The scuba boat.
The scuba boat. And what's his face and the chick he has to marry, they're having a conversation, and then you make a choice, and I don't remember what the choice was, but it was clearly insulting to her, right? Or you were trying to console her, and then there's like a weird pause, and then she just goes, "Oh, what's that over there?" Like, completely ignoring the question, and that happened a lot in the game. It would, like, the conversation would just split end and then move on to something else.
I got nothing to counteract that, because you're right in that regard.
Yeah. One other thing I had a major issue with, and this is what the Telltale games and Until Dawn did so well, was while you're traversing the areas, you were hinted or guided via the camera of, like, what's the area you're supposed to go to, and then what's the area that's, like, a secret or a side area, right, that'll get other things. In Man of Medan here, like, 7 out of 10 times, the camera will be pointing in one direction, and then if you go to the other areas, there's either going to be 7 out of 10 times there's nothing, right? And
or
then 3
a little collectible or something.
And 3 out of 10 times is going to be a little collectible that led to nothing. So it's very linear, and I didn't like that.
Fair enough. See,
I felt like I was just being forced to move to just singular areas.
No, I get that. I get that, but like I said, for what it was, I enjoyed it. Like, as I said earlier, it wasn't a full retail price game. I don't know how much it was over there.
It was $30.
I say it was 40 here, which is
Yeah.
a hell of like $60 cheaper than normal release. Like, if you're judging it in the regard of it not being a AAA release or whatnot, I thought it was brilliant.
I thought it was a step backwards for the company. You know, if the whole idea is this whole dark pictures anthology that they're making, because I was very excited for this game because I'm a huge fan of Until Dawn, big fan of the VR game that they came out based on Until Dawn, not the second one that they did. Anyways.
Yeah.
Even then, that was a little bit better. With Man and Medan here, I think they proved that they can make a short story, but from a gameplay perspective and having something to compare it to, I was very much let down.
Are you going to play through A Little Hope?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So it didn't turn you off the company then?
No. I was just very disappointed that they put out what I think is below their par.
Look, not every company hits the nail on the head every time. Maybe this ghost ship idea wasn't your cup of tea.
You know what I think would have made this would have salvaged all of these complaints?
Go ahead.
Having more scares and spooks.
Yeah, fair enough.
What was there, only like 2?
I had, 2 or 3.
Yeah, 4 hours and there was only 2 or 3?
See, another little complaint that I want to do here, like, I'm going to jump onto your bandwagon for a second.
Okay.
Like, you know, when you were going through, I think it was the church and there was the coffins and stuff there.
Sure. Yes.
What was in that one that was chained up? Because I would have liked to have known that.
Yeah, they never revealed that, did they?
No. There should have been an option, like, somehow to break into it.
Well, see, that's what I'm saying. Let's say earlier in the game you have a character go down a hallway and you pick up something to actually interact with. Not like a piece of paper
thingy
or...
which you need to get Fliss out before she drowns.
Right. There should have been more of that, because we saw some of that in Until Dawn, did we not?
Yeah, like the butterfly effect things, like right at the start of the game with the baseball bat.
Yeah, they could have easily done things like that in this one. You know, do I take the crowbar or do I take an axe? Like, ooh. See, that's a choice that would have ramifications for later, because then if you want to see these things, you can do it now. And let's say something's in the casket where it, I don't know, actually unleashes actual ghosts on the ship. It's not like they swerve you. It's not Manchurian Gold. It's actually both. It's haunted and you're hallucinating. So now you don't know what's a hallucination and what's actually a ghost. I was actually expecting that, to be honest, where there were actual ghosts on the ship.
Yeah, fair enough.
Which begs the question. There was a couple scares where you would have a ghost pop up in the shadows, like for a flash, right? Or a door would slam behind you. And I get it. They were trying to relay the message that the characters are hallucinating, right?
Or like
it's all in their
the place
head.
where you get the gas mask from.
Right.
With that locker, where like you open it up the first time, I forgot what was in there. You open it the second time, there's nothing in there, and then it pops open again.
Right. So these flashes of ghosts really did turn out to be just a hallucination. I was very much expecting that because they had all these weird coffins and one chained up, that there is this spooky unleashed thing there.
Which is what I thought the boy at the side of the game was.
Exactly. But that's not what it was. It was like his dead son he hallucinated or some shit, and then the Manchurian Gold had a heart attack effect on him. And that's
Yep.
yeah.
Yep. Which, look, I still like the game. I'd play through it again. It was enjoyable enough for me to consider playing it again.
You know what I would consider doing? Because it does have a movie mode. Or a play with friends mode, where you would kind of play as a singular character and pass the controller around, and everyone plays their own character. That's a really cool mechanic.
Did you play through by yourself, or did you play through on co-op? Because there is a co-op thing to this.
No, I played by myself.
Would you be up to doing a co-op run?
No, because I don't own the game anymore. I borrowed it from the video game store.
Because I'd like to see how they do the parts in there, like, where the character's hallucinating and, like, you're, quote-unquote, in your screen playing as a monster, but I'm, like, getting chased by you know what I mean?
Right.
I'd like to see how that's implemented in co-op.
Yeah. There was a sequence of events that was really cool, but stuffed up by a QTE. Just I'm using your terminology now. Okay, so you have, is it Brad? Which one's the nerdy brother?
I think his name was Brad. Let's go with Brad.
All right, we'll go with Brad. So Brad and Fliss are both going through this room, and it keeps repeating. Is it Fliss?
Yeah. It's Fliss or the blonde chick, but yeah.
Yeah. So they're going through this room, and it's repeating, and they're seeing, whatever it is that they're seeing. And then later, so Brad's kind of freaking out, and he has a wrench in his hand. I think it's a wrench. We'll go with a wrench.
It's something, yeah.
It's a blunt object. And Fliss like freaks out into this room, and then she eventually sees this like hooded figure coming after her, and you as the player know that it's Brad, right? The game hasn't told you yet that there's hallucinations, so I am thinking that the spirits are fucking with you, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right, or at least when. I'm not, because I'm thinking that there are actually spirits on this, plus Manchurian Gold.
Yeah.
So it could be either or of these things. But I'm like, that's Brad, so not do anything. And then it's proceeded with QTEs. And I go, I bet if I miss one of these QTEs, she's going to die. And that's stupid. Because in Until Dawn, yes, there were some parts of that you would die if you missed a QTE, and that's stupid, right? But most of the time, it was, if you made the bad decision, you would kill him. Because you have the decision to stab, right?
Yeah.
You have stab, or there was 3. Stab, do something else, and then do nothing. So I did the do nothing. So I was like, don't stab him, and don't do the other thing. Because you know what it was.
I was like at the end of the game, like when Alex has a rat in his gut and Fliss is coming through the door. It's like, do nothing, stab yourself, or stab the monster.
Oh, I didn't get that.
Oh, must have had 2 different things come. Alright, moving on.
Yeah, I didn't get that part.
Yeah, there's a part where I was up to where Alex is hallucinating that he's got a rat eating out his stomach, and he opens up a door and there's a monster which turns out to be Fliss, and you have an option to stab yourself, stab the monster, or do nothing.
Oh, you know what? I bet that's triggered by whomever takes the knife.
Probably also triggered by who is dead or whatever at that point.
Yeah, maybe.
Because like I said,
did you ever figure out
times.
what the paintings mean?
Were they supposed to be prophecies or something? The things that could happen?
The things that could happen, but it doesn't... I never could figure out if it was something you're supposed to do, something to avoid, or help you with a choice to make in that moment.
I thought that was like all 3 of the above, and maybe just dependent on what you did to get to that point.
Don't you think that should be a little bit more helpful?
A little bit, because it's just like a 10-second clip of like someone drowning or someone seeing a monster or blah blah blah.
Yeah. I did put one together, though, which made sense. Yeah. And that was What's-Her-Face kind of gasping for air and clutching her chest. And that was before she went scuba diving. And then when that choice was decompress or not, I went, oh, so that's what that is. Right? That was a good one. That one made sense, right? Yeah, while the other ones that I came across didn't make any sense, because I could never put one particular instance with another. I guess the prophecy of Fliss or a knife. Yeah, I guess a knife stabbing Brad was the other one.
Yeah. Like, the different frames and stuff, I'm pretty sure had different implications as well. Because, like, I'm pretty sure that there was different colored frames which did different things.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't notice that. You might be onto something.
Well, it doesn't matter. I liked it. You didn't like it.
I didn't hate it, though. I didn't hate it like Youngblood. I hated Youngblood.
What, solid, like, 6 out of 10?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd probably give it a 7.5.
I think that's about what the Metacritic score is, too. Is like between a 6 and a 7.5, generally.
I see, we're on the ball when it comes to that regard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wish it was better. I wish it was more gameplay. It was too cutscene heavy.
Yeah, just a little bit. But like I said, it reminded me of a Telltale game, and I quite like Telltale games.
If you're into a more story-driven perspective, yeah, I suppose. All right.
Yeah.
So those were the July-August games, plus a little clip with my mother. I hope everyone enjoyed. We have a slew of games from September. Looking ahead when we record here in October. Man, I got like 12 games listed, I think. I don't think we're going to cover all 12. We'll see.
Fair enough. We did.
You're looking forward to Gears 5 the most, probably, right?
Dude, I can't wait to play Gears.
I'm very curious about Code Vein. That's coming out in September here. I'm wondering how Borderlands 3 is going to turn out. It's supposedly having good reviews already.
It'll turn out like a Borderlands game where it's not good in single player, but a lot of fun with friends.
Ooh, that's a hot take.
Well, what? Do you disagree?
I liked Borderlands 2 in VR.
Fair enough.
Just about everything's better in VR.
Fair enough. Well, look, I like Borderlands, but I can't enjoy it by myself. I need people to play it with.
I could see that. I'll probably get Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening remake, personally.
Yeah, I mean, dude, that's a guarantee. Link's Awakening is probably my favorite Zelda game.
Ooh, really now?
Yes.
Okay.
Why? What's yours?
Wind Waker HD. Specifically that one.
Yeah. No, each their own. I do like the old Link's Awakening though.
I did really enjoy that game.
Did you play Link's Awakening DX, or did you just play the original?
Which one do I own? I probably own DX.
DX is the one with the color dungeon.
I think it's a black cartridge, if I remember.
Look, if it's got the color dungeon into it where you get to pick between the red tunic or the blue tunic at the end of it, then it's DX. If it doesn't have the color dungeon, it's the original.
I think I have the color dungeon then.
Then it must be DX.
Must be. Alright. Jay, it's been fun. I think this is our longest Modern Game cast yet.
Well, we had to cover 2 months, so what do you expect?
Yeah. Hopefully we don't cover 2 months again anytime soon.
Look,
that way I can remember the games better.
Look, things just didn't work out the way that they should have.
Yeah. It happens. It's fine. We've done 2-month shows in the past before. I'm sure it'll happen again. But let's not do it for September and October. There's too many fucking games coming out in those 2 months.
Are we covering WWE in October?
No.
Thank God for that.
The game is shit. End of story.
Are we covering the Outer Worlds? Because I'm looking forward to that.
Yes, we're covering that one.
Excellent.
All right. This was Modern Gamecast episode 24?
24.
24. Hey. July, August 2019. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next time.
Peace out, guys.
Reach for my hand, I'll soar away into the dawn. Oh, I wish I could stay here and cherish hearts in peaceful days. I fear the edge of dawn, knowing time betrays. Faint lights pass through colored glass in this beloved place. Silver shines, the world dines, a smile on each face. As joy surrounds, guns are the bounds, and I can feel them breaking free. For just this moment lost in time, I am finally me. Yet still I hide behind this mask that I have become. My blackened heart, scorched by flames of force I can't run from.